Hey, thanks a lot for checking out my video. My name's Mark Bosserman. I play the piano and I sing and I play around 10 or 15 times every single week, and I love my job. And I think that people ask me about it all the time. How do I work so much? And so I have been wanting to post more videos on YouTube. And so I posted a conversation I had with a friend of mine, just where I was answering his questions as best I could, trying to help him to book more gigs and be more successful. And I thought, well, let me release this, but I also just, want you to know a little bit about myself. And if you have, here's what would really help me. If you have any questions or any comments about what would help you, like what could I help you with, I'd be more than happy to try to post a video answering any questions that you have or anything that I can help you with as an artist. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. See ya. The very first question is that I have is, where have you ever played before?
I just did it at PAC. That's the only
The PAC
place
Cafe. Okay.
Yeah.
And so then what's the format? You're doing like that's an hour-long gig, right, or something?
Right, yeah.
Okay, and how did it go over?
Good.
And have you ever done that? Have you ever performed that anywhere else for any party or?
No.
Okay. Now, have you ever seen another guitar player or another musician doing something similar like that in a paid environment?
I think I saw, I recall somebody playing sax on Brand Boulevard at some restaurant there, but they kind of had full tracks behind them, like a full band tracks behind them.
Okay, yeah. So, like for instance, I play at this place called Vita, and there's a really good sax player that plays there on Friday nights, and he has tracks, and he just sets up his, he has the exact same kind of, I have a Bose L1 compact, and he has the same thing, and he sets it up and plays, and he makes it's a decent little gig, and he makes some tips, and it's a 3-hour gig. That surveys are the key to statistics, right? The surveys. So it's really and the first thing that you do when you're starting a new activity is you find out what's needed and wanted. Like, there's 2 ways that you could do that. If you played at the cafe, they hired you once and they're hiring you again, then I'd say that you're doing something that's needed and wanted. You can always improve, you can always refine that. You can always make it more what's needed and wanted. And I don't think you have to, somebody could come up to you and say, well, we want you to play speed metal with tracks. And you might be like, well, I'm not into speed metal. So fine, but I think you could find, find songs that people would want you to do, whatever kind of arrangement that you want to do that fits your vibe that you want to create, and you could still create familiarity within the framework of, the style that you like that is working, right?
Right.
And then I think you could go around to, to restaurants, and you could say, hey, some of them might have some entertainment. And if they do, you could say, you could just tell them, this is what I do, and I could come in and play for you, But I would even go in and play for them on, go in and play on a Tuesday night or whatever, an off night or something, or a Sunday brunch or something, even though they might not have music, but just so they could see how it sounds. Because I think, and also for you to go in and see how it sounds and how people like, whether they like it or not. I know you're a smoking beautiful player, and I know you have great, sensibilities, and I think your guitar playing is beautiful. And I go, you have to get out there and promote. Like, I would go and maybe do, maybe they would let you play for tips. or maybe they would even say, yeah, well, I could, pay you, $25 or $50. And I don't think, like there's probably guys that, get offended by that, or whatever, professional musicians that get offended that somebody would play for, less than $500, on a restaurant gig. I'm being a little bit, facetious or whatever. But I think, like, for you in your situation, hey, I would just be out there, like, let's test it out. Like, when you're, I'm doing this marketing program right now, and, it's amazing to me how much these guys test everything. So you test it and you see if it works or not. In other words, so you could go, I would just find a venue, like, someplace that's near to you, even walk in and just say, hey, do you ever have entertainment? They say, no, we can't afford it, or whatever they say. But you say, well, what if I came in and just played for you on a Sunday afternoon? And I'll play, if it's okay with you, if I can put out a tip jar, and I'll just play for you. And then you go in and then you just see, well, because I think, a lot of it is like you figuring out what will really work in that venue. What can you do that will really work? And then...
Do most of the restaurant gigs you do are tips only?
No. No. Just to get up and running, and to get out there and get surveys and find out what 100% will work. I mean, so the other approach would be to just contact every single venue, like make some videos of you performing. Do you have any videos of you doing your thing?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So then you can contact venues that are, have live music, and venues that have regular live music are paying for they're paying the performers, and you can, then it's a matter of just finding any venue that might hire you, and then contacting them and saying, I'm available, and here's some videos if you're interested. And then I would also, if you have videos of what you're doing, it sounds like a kind of a great thing that would work really well for, like, maybe a background music for any kind of a fundraiser or a dinner event or something like that, like, or any place where they have sort of like dinner music or a cocktail hour or something like that. And then it's just a matter of finding, it's like finding venues, finding people that are interested in, that can hire the entertainment, and letting them know what you do, and letting them know how they can find your videos, and then letting them know what they need to do to book you, which is like, call me up and tell me when you want me or whatever, right?
Right.
But yeah.
Do you bring a sound system to every gig you do, or both?
Like some of the venues that I do, like the senior living venues that I do, they often have a piano, so I go and play their piano. Some of them I just take a keyboard, and I don't have any miking at all. And some of them I bring a microphone, like I did one in Beverly Hills yesterday, and they have a beautiful Yamaha piano, and I just bring my Bose just to sing through, because I liked a little more volume on my singing. So that's what I bring to those. Like when they have a piano, even when I play a private party and they want me to sing, I always bring something to sing through, because I don't think, when you get it banging away on a piano, it's hard to sing over it, especially the kind of style that I do. I'm not like one of those operatic, I can do that sort of operatic thing, but I'm more like a jazz vocalist, and you're not, they're not all belters. They might be, you might have to get real quiet where you can't hear it unless you're mic'd up. So, yeah. So, but then like, for instance, I have a regular Friday night gig where I go play outside at this resort in La Puente, and I bring my whole rig. I bring a keyboard. I bring my Bose system, and I set everything up. And I've got, I definitely have, like the weight of my equipment is I like to travel as light as possible, but still sound as good as possible. So I have a Casio keyboard that's like, 23 pounds or something, or and the sound system's this Bose L1 Compact, which is, I think it has two parts, and it weighs 23 pounds or something like that, both parts. So it's not really super heavy, but it sounds great, and I've done thousands of gigs with it. So first thing that I think is the most important thing is, like, when you're starting out, is just that you're out there playing a lot, like, quantity, like the amount of times you can go out and play, the better. It's a constant survey. Like, I'm constantly surveying. Which every time you ask a person, well, if you guys have any requests, anything that you'd like to hear, let me know. And and you find out, what people like. And the millionth time that people say, can you do some Sinatra? And you kind of go, oh, maybe I should do a few Sinatra tunes or whatever. And I don't try to do them. I don't go I don't go to YouTube and get a Sinatra record or something like that and try to copy Frank Sinatra. I love Sinatra. I think Sinatra's genius, but I'm not trying to be Frank Sinatra. But I want to play something that, Fly Me to the Moon. I don't think I do. I don't think nobody has ever said, my God, you sound just like Sinatra, So I'm not like even Elton John. I've had people say, you have this Elton John vibe, but man, I've seen guys sit down and play Elton John and copy every note and every nuance of his singing. And I kind of go, that's great, but I'm not a tribute band. I'm an artist. My name's Mark Bosserman. I look at myself more like, Michael Bublé or even Sinatra. He didn't write the songs. He didn't go to the Broadway shows, Cole Porter's Broadway shows, and go, oh my God, how did they do it in the show? He went, oh wow, here's this song. What would my audience like? What are my people that like Frank Sinatra, like, the type of music that he does, like, so you do your own, I think you do your own arrangement, but you have a song, you have the repertoire that people are like, they instantly can connect, with that repertoire or whatever. Does that make sense?
Sure.
And I think, so then that's why I would even do, I just think, like, I think if you went in and said, hey, I want to just come in and play for, like whatever, if you, like, first off, if you told people, like, if you went around to, like, even cool little restaurants around your area that you think are cool, and they say, well, we can't really afford entertainment, say, I'll just come in and play for tips. My thought on it would be more like, by the end of the night, they would probably be coming up to you and saying, hey, we scraped up $50 or something, and here's $50, and maybe you make $50 in tips, and, and you're making a little bit of money, but you're also getting in front of an audience and finding out, you're tweaking what you're doing. You're sort of like getting paid to put your show together or something like that. I don't know if that makes sense.
Sure.
The other thing I would do, any time that you ever hear of or see somebody that's doing something along the lines of what you're doing, go on their website and see where they're playing, and call those places.
Right.
And find out how, and I would even ask them, how do you market? What do you do? Like, I can tell you, like, myself, I'm on Gig Masters and I'm on Gig Salad, and those are the two best places that I've found that I actually book gigs. And I have a Yelp page that I, work on I probably could work on it more. But I mean, but I've got 45 reviews on Yelp or something like that, and I'm I'm really happy when people review me there, and I'm always looking for more ways to promote. Like LinkedIn is really good for because maybe you'd get hired for corporate functions, and so I would like to be connecting with event planners and people doing I don't know like executives in corporations, and just posting your videos. Here's what I do. This is what I if you need any help with anything, let me know, or whatever, kind of thing. Like, just, does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. Definitely.
I just think if you did that, just for the survey thing on it, that some of those places would wind up hiring you. They would be like, oh my God, it sounds so good. How much would you charge to come in and play regularly, like on a Sunday? And then, next thing you know, you've got yourself a regular gig every Sunday brunch, or, every Friday night, or Friday or Saturday, or what, or, oh, we have, or like a lot of places do catering, or they even have banquet spaces in the restaurant. And so they're always looking for, people that can provide entertainment for the for private events, and I mean, I don't get a lot of gigs from that kind of stuff, but hey, the more that the more, like, it's like, I mean, it's all about how much attention can you attract, like how many communication lines can you be on that people like you, they know who you are, you're a nice guy, you sound great, they like your vibe, and then it's just putting yourself out there, like, as far and as wide as you can, in the most friendliest way that you can. And I mean, even like a dumb thing, but I mean, I think you should tell your friends, like you should tell everybody that that you do, that you have this thing that you do in doing instrumental work. Like, in other words, you could text everybody in your phone. You could send a communication to every friend that you have on Facebook, and just tell them, hey, here's some links to my videos if you know of anybody that needs any music, or and then it's just a matter of like, it's telling people, like, it's telling them, I mean, that you, like, it's funny, but my whole well, you get I think you get my emails. You do. That's what you even responded back from that. And I go, and I mean, I don't sit there, I don't offer, hey, book me now and get a special rate or something. I mean, my whole campaign, right or wrong, maybe it could be more effective, but my whole campaign has been more like, my name's Mark. I'm a musician. I'm a creative person. I'm optimistic. I'm easy to get along with. I love what I do. I love to perform. And I'm having a blast performing all these different gigs, and I love performing, and so, and I think, and I don't ever, every once in a while say, hey, you should have a party and hire me, or, but I mean, it's not even, I mean, anyway, I don't know, like, to me, the thing that's been, I think, more good, for me, is almost just, I think people just like getting my emails because they're just friendly and, kind of upbeat, and, I'm optimistic and that sort of thing. And people don't, they don't mind getting my emails. So I stay on their radar, and that's the whole thing. And it's not like I book a lot of gigs from that, although, I probably do book more then I, I probably do book, a number of gigs, but most of the gigs I book are from like, just like what we were talking about is like, you know, following up and calling venues, and I call all the country clubs, and I call anytime I come up with a venue. Like I probably could do this more. I mean, I've been super busy lately, and I have a girl that just calls venues. She calls senior living, and she calls country clubs, and she's called other restaurants and stuff that I have a list of. But I mean, and I do that too, though. I call people that have booked me before, and I just say hi to them, and I'm in that kind of thing. Like that's another thing I would do, if I were you, is like people that have booked you before, that you've ever booked a gig with, call them up and say hi. How are you doing? Like, hey, I'm here. I love playing. That I really enjoyed playing with them. I really had a great time performing for them. I express the good feeling that I have about it to them, and I bring that up, and because I think that like, I don't know, like it's also like I just think that goes a long way. I mean, people like, I think, you're all worried about whether people liked your performance. I think the host is often worried about whether they were a good host. What specific questions or what specific stuff comes to mind for you that, like, well, should you do this or should you do that, or what, Yeah,
not really. Maybe like, what, say for example, a restaurant gig.
Yeah.
Is there like a length of time, a rate per hour,
No, I mean,
you're just playing it by ear on everything. It's like,
well, okay, and and I'm going to be like, this is a point of like, I guess, where you start talking about money and how much you're getting paid. This is a point where, there could be a lot of different opinions. Like one place that I plays $300 for 3 hours.
Uh-huh.
But then I have, there's other places I play that pay $100 for 3.5 hours or 4 hours. There's
right.
And I mean, I go, and there are some really good players that are playing those gigs. It's funny, I even know, this is a really weird thing, but I know guys that, like, I mean, I remember the Baked Potato or something, which is this like, I don't know, absolutely like everybody's played at the Baked Potato, but then you find out, well, the guys that are playing in the Baked Potato are making $50 each or something like that. But you're not playing at the Baked Potato for the $50. You're playing there because it's a prestige jazz gig or something, right?
Yeah.
So there's, to even say, yeah, we performed at the Baked Potato. Maybe that's, I guess the theory of it is that, with the Baked Potato, and I'm not trying to pick on the Baked Potato, and for all I know, the Baked Potato might pay a lot more than that now or something, or some guys might make a lot more. I don't really know. I've never played at the Baked. Well, I think I played there one time, whatever, maybe not. But I mean, I just think like, there could be different reasons for people to play different gigs. Like, and I've played places like, my first gig that I had, this was like 30 years ago, it was a 5-hour gig and it paid $50. And I was super pumped to have it. And I would make sometimes, more than $50 in tips playing there. So, maybe I'd make $100 in tips or more sometimes. So, and that was also, like, wow, it was probably 35 years ago. But, currently, I mean, there's a place that I play for 3.5 hours, pays $100, and sometimes I even stay extra. But I mean, I have friends there. I love to play there. I have a great time playing there. There are people like, I often can make $100 or more. I've made $350 in tips there before. I mean, on a, you know, kind of a fluky kind of night, but hey, but it's, you know, it's one of the, you know, exciting things about making tips is like sometimes, you know, you make really phenomenal tips and sometimes you don't make as well. And, you know, that's, so yeah. And then I have gigs that, you know, then I have private parties where I'll go and play a private party and play for 3 or 4 hours and make $1,000 or make 500 or 700 or 800, you know, so, you know, it's like, I think.
Is that what you charge, or is that, you know, you shoot them a price that you think covers it, and then you get tips from them?
Well, I generally have, you know, I generally do, I've usually, for the last bunch of years, I've been doing $250 for the first hour and $100 an hour after that. But then sometimes, it's almost funny. I mean, I've had people, I've had one person I remember booked me, through Yelp, and they, even in their review, they said, when we first heard his prices, we thought he couldn't be any good because he didn't charge very much. And I was like, that's so funny.
Meaning you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So then it's, you know, to me, that's a funny thing, you know, and, you know, I mean, yeah, maybe I should charge more and maybe I should charge less, you know, I mean, I just think, you know, like, I mean, I don't know, I've heard other people say this before, you know, you never get paid. You very rarely get paid what you think you're worth. You usually get paid less than you think you're worth or more. You know, and it's like, you know, right? It's kind of almost a funny thing, you know, like sometimes, you know, I'm sure that there's guys, you know, like, you know, guys that are, you know, like, you know, I mean, I even remember my dad was a college professor and he worked in the United States at different colleges for years. And then he got this job in Japan and they paid him so much money. He was embarrassed about how much money he made because he just thought, oh, it's just too much. I mean, you shouldn't make that much as a professor, but he went and did that gig for 5 years or something, or 4 or 5 years. And, you know, so it's kind of like the more in demand that you are, the more, you know, the more you can charge and pick and choose. But I think, you know, that also that you know, like that you should play. I'm like, you know, and there are a lot of people that disagree with me on this, and that is, you know, I think you should play and you should get experience and you should play a lot. I personally like to play a lot, and I think, you know, I do a lot of gigs that I offer to other musicians that are my friends, and they'll send me back, I would never play for that money. That's just, I'm kind of like, okay, well, I'm sorry that I couldn't offer you a better gig. But then I think, yeah, I would like to I always think to myself, yeah, well, of course I'd like to make $700 or $800 a night, or $1,000 or $10,000 a night. I mean, I know a guy that you know, does 45-minute sets for $10,000 a night.
Wow.
And he's a genius, and he's, you know, I mean, he's such a good performer and so smart and it's like his marketing and that sort of thing. But I also kind of think, well, you know, but he maybe only does 1 or 2 gigs a week. And I think, God, if I only played, you know, an hour and a half a week, I would be like, God, I think I don't know what I would do with myself. I love going out and playing 30 or 40 hours and, you know, I might only make $2,000 a week, or, you know, or 2,500, or, you know, or more. But I like to play, and I like to, you know, some weeks I probably make less, you know. I just think it, you know, it's that's a very hard question. How much should you charge? You know, I mean, it depends on if you're LeBron James, or it depends on if you're LeBron James or you're in the minor leagues or whatever, basketball, and you're, you know, yeah, you're doing the same thing. And I mean, I've done the same thing for $75 that I've gone out and made $1,000 for in the same week. you know.
Right.
So
Cool.
yeah.
So when you do like, if you do a 5-hour gig, how do you do that as far as breaks and things?
Okay, that's, I mean, there's this, you know, there's,
You just love it so much that you just play the straight 5 hour.
I mean, this, and this is probably another point that's super upsetting to some people. And it can be, and it can be upsetting for drummers too, because I mean, I think something like drums is a little bit harder to sit there for 5 hours, you know, but I mean, I have sat there and played 5-hour gigs straight, or even played 6 hours, like where I just sit down and I'm having so much fun, and I'm so into, you know, the people are having a blast, and I'm just so into it, and I'm having so much fun I don't even get up, and I've done that before. You're asking me, I'm telling you what I do, and I mean,
That's
like
exactly
in a 3-hour gig, I usually will take one 5 or 10 minute break, and I usually want to take that break. I want to take it because I think it's good to have a, you know, like to not have some music for a minute, and then I go around and talk to people and ask them what they want to hear, because I found that more that I interact with people, and the more I, you know, can individually play something for them that's more special, that you know, most people like, that's more special to them, and they usually tip more on those points. And I like to interact with people. I hate those gigs. Although I know some piano players that just like, let me just sit here and play this gig, and I'll be happy. And I'm like, and I'm not one of those guys. I mean, and I don't, you know, I'm not saying one's right or wrong, because honestly, I mean, you know.
Yeah, what it comes down to, and I often find myself talking to other musicians about this, and that is, there are other aspects to playing music than playing music. So.
Well, yeah, well.
One way or another, those functions are, you know, intimately affect your success in this.
Right.
So,
well, I mean, exactly. Well, I mean, I would even say this. I mean.
And you understand that. So.
Right. And I would even say, well, let's look at what is the product of your performance. I mean, you know, like, to me, the more that you can make that, the more you can connect with people in the performance, and the more it means something to them, and the more it means something to you. And the more the quality of that communication, the quality is actually the quality of, you know, yeah, I think there's more to being an artist than just, you know, playing the piano good. You know, like, you have to play the piano well, and, you know, I think people like, you know, I don't think you could sit there with a frown on your face and play the piano, and I don't think people would enjoy it as much as if you're really enjoying yourself. You don't see, you know, Lang Lang, to me, he's a genius piano player, but he's beautiful to watch, you know, like, I mean, and I go, and, you know, good performers are part of the experience, is that, you know, but it's essentially part of the presentation of the art, of the communication. You know, it's all part of the communication. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and I mean, there is a definite correlation between interaction and income. But I think but I don't like to look at it like, well, you're just doing it for the money, because I don't think that's really true. I think because the experience is better, it's more fun, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so there you go.
It's fun to whatever, go out and just talk to people.
Dude, I mean, that's exchange, man. That exchange, that's the magic. That's the beauty of life, isn't it? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, even if, you know, it's funny, but, you know, even if you're, you know, like, even if you make hot dogs, you know, and you have a hot dog stand, I go, dude, when people come over and you got the sauerkraut, and you've got the 8 different kinds of mustard, the exact mustard that they love when they were a kid, and they can make this hot dog, and it can be this, that, you know, you've got the bread that they like, or, you know, whatever, you know, you've got this thing that's like, it's just so exactly what just makes it like, wow. And you smile, and you give them a bag of chips with the hot, you know, or whatever. I mean, you know, and then it's all of a sudden like, wow, I love this hot dog, man. I mean, you know, come on, you're having, you know, you're eating a hot dog, but it's like, it's more than that, you know. that's a maybe that's a funny framework to put it in, but you know, or even if you're, you know, you sweep the floor, if you really sweep it well and people are like, wow, the floor looks so much better, you know, your life is going to be a lot better. Anyway.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think we pretty much see eye to eye on a lot of those things.
Cool. So like, it's an interesting thing. I mean, I don't know, musicians and artists sometimes get offended about it or whatever, you know, like how much you make, or, you know, like, but I also think like, I mean, but then there's plenty of guys I know that are like world-class musicians, and you can call them up for a $50 gig on a night when they don't have a gig, and they're like, yeah, I'm in, man. That sounds awesome, you know. Like, and I'm like, you know, they're not sitting there going, well, I only play with, you know, Liza Minnelli, and you know, and when I'm gigging with Liza, I'm making, you know, $1,000 a night, so I don't want to, you know, I don't want to undercut myself. I go, wow, I guess, you know, or maybe for that person it's only about money, and you know, like, you know, for the other guy, it's like, because it's damn fun to play some music, you know, with other guys, you know, and make $50. Hey, man, you know, hey.
There you go, right? Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of a funny thing.
I've done that before myself too. When I was living in Cleveland,
Uh-huh.
I had a couple of friends that they would mostly DJ parties, but they would DJ at some clubs sometimes, and sometimes they would ask me to play, and they just had this eclectic mix of songs that I'd literally have to figure out on the spot, and just figure out like a part to play. Well, interestingly enough, it's like a lot of them seemed absent of a guitar part, you know, just like a rhythm part in there. So
Uh-huh.
it was kind of easy to put something in there, and then solo over certain spots, and
Yeah, just to add a little extra energy.
It would be like, you know what? 5 hours is going by. Didn't even notice it, you know. So
Right, man.
Like, well, it's an hour. It's time for my break, you know, that kind of a thing. So I never even thought of it. So.
Yeah. You know, to me, the money isn't the pay. You know, the money helps, and it's good to have, and, you know, it's good to pay your bills and stuff, but the pay is the playing, you know, creating music is such a blast, and creating with other people and creating with the crowd and that interaction. That is the thing that makes it, I mean, you know, it's fun. That's why I'm doing it, because it's just amazing. There's just nothing like it, you know. But on the other hand, yeah, I would like to make 5 times the money that I'm making right now, or 100 times the money, you know, like, you know, get up there with, you know, hit the Paul McCartney money or whatever. And,
right.
You know, why not? You know, I mean, hey, you know, so then, you know, you can push it. You got to push what you're doing in that direction too. Take where you're at and move it towards that. Yeah.
If I have any other questions, I'll
hit me up, man. Anytime. Call me anytime. I really like the communication. I really like the, you know, I have so much joy doing what I'm doing. It is so fun, and I do a lot of different things. I love, if I can do anything to help people get out and play more and create more art, because I also kind of feel like, you know, that when I know for me, when I'm doing art, I feel like it's what I should be doing. You know, I feel like that's one of the most things I can contribute to the world that has the most value, and it's that value makes me happy too. Giving that value makes me happy. So anyway,
Cool.
thanks, man.
All right.
Alrighty.
Good talking to you. Thanks for the info.
Okay, call me anytime.
Okay.
All right, brother. Ciao.
Bye.
If you made it this far in the video, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that bell icon and like the video, share it, all that kind of stuff. It really helps me to get this out to more people. I really appreciate it. Again, what do you need help with as a musician, as an artist? Let me know, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that I can. All right, see you later. Thanks again.